Let us solve quadratic equations by factoring. Yes, nagawa niyo na to when you were in grade 8. Pero bakit meron uli sa grade 9? Kasi ang focus naman natin ay quadratic equations. And when we speak of quadratic equations, these are equations in one variable with a degree of 2. Meaning, ang highest exponent ay 2, hindi pwedeng mas mababa, hindi pwedeng mas mataas. And let's try this first problem. 2x squared minus 18x equals 0. In factoring your quadratic equations, the very first technique is by GCF. When we speak of GCF, this is your greatest common factor na meron sa dalawang terms. So, for this case, let's check the numbers. You have 2 and 18. So, both are divisible by 2. You can now put it here. And for the variables, parehong may x. So, we put here your x. And by this time, let's now get what is the remaining factor when we divide it by 2x. 2x squared divided by 2x is x. Negative 18x divided by 2x is negative 9. And then equate it with 0. Since it's already factored, pwede na po natin kunin ang values ng x. Of course, do not forget to equate both with 0. So you have there 2x equals 0, and then you have your x minus 9 equals 0. And then you have to solve now for your x here. Even if you divide it by 2, the answer will still be 0. And in this case, we now have to put the additive inverse on the left and the right side of your equal sign. So you have there x minus 9 plus 9 equals 9. So dito po makikita nyo, makakancel lang to. Kaya ang x natin ay equal sa 9. Yan. Siyempre, sigurista tayo. So let's try solving this problem using a calculator. So if you have your Classwiz with you, so pwede natin siyang kunin. First is make sure that you turn it on. Click natin yung menu. And then, pindutin yung cursor down. Hanapin natin yung equation or function. Ayun, letter A siya. And then, click equal sign. After clicking your equal sign, may choices tayo dito is simultaneous or polynomial. This is a polynomial, so click 2. And then, put the degree of your polynomial, which is also 2. Take note na kapag gumagamit ka ng calculator, dapat ang ating equation ay naka-standard form. So, tama po ito, naka-standard. Ibig sabihin, pag standard, naka-equal to 0. Lahat po ng ating values nandun lang sa one side. So, now you can see there A, B, and C. So, for our A, this is your A here. The numerical coefficient beside x squared. Your B is the numerical coefficient beside x, and your C is your constant. So, in this case, wala tayong constant. So, just type 2, then press equals, then negative 18, then press equals, and then 0, press equals. Yan. So, lalabas ang unang sagot. If you press another equal, lumabas naman ang pangalawang sagot. And we are now sure na tama ang solution natin sa first problem. For our second problem, let us solve 3x squared minus 12 equals 0. Yes, ang una po natin gawin ay hanapin ang greatest common factor. And our greatest common factor here is 3. So we are now having here 3x squared divided by 3, x squared. Negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4. And again, equate it to 0. So since simplified na yung problem natin, wala namang variable dito, we can now solve this one. X squared minus 4 equals 0. And as you can see, this is actually a perfect number. So if we move this on the other side, yung additive inverse na ginawa natin kanina, it would be x squared equals 4. So we will just extract the root of both sides. We will now have here x equals 2. Oops, Remember that our exponent here is 2. So, dapat may dalawang values tayo ng x. So, we now put here the positive, negative values of x. This is your A. In this case, wala tayong B dito. And then your C here is negative 12. So, let's input. A is 3, then equals. B is 0. And then C is negative 12. Then press equal and another equal. Then you'll see our value here. Let's try x squared minus 7x plus 12 equals 0. So, sa ganitong problem naman, factoring pa rin. At ang technique naman natin sa pagpa-factor ay ang tinatawag na magic x. So, yan. Sa magic x, maglalagay ka lang ng malaking x dyan. The above one, ang ilalagay natin dito is the product of your A and C. So, in this case, that's 1 times 12, which is 12. Sa baba naman po, ilalagay natin ay ang value ng ating B. So, dito A, C, dito B, which is negative 7. At itong dalawa naman po sa gilid ay ang ating mga factors. So, ang gagawin po natin is to list down all the factors of 12. Okay? Pag pinag-add or pinag-subtract, ang sagot ay negative 7. So, let's try putting it down. Factors of 12, pwedeng 12 and 1, 3 and 4, 2 and 6. So, 12 and 1, plus ko, minus ko, malayo. 3 and 4, pag pinlas ko, 7. So, ang gagawin ko na lang, parehong negative. So, ayan na po ang ating factors. And in this case, to rewrite your answer, you will now have here x minus 3 times x minus 4 equals 0. So, may factors ka na. Kailangan mo na lang kunin ang values ni x. So, again, equate both with 0. Equate both with 0. Ayan. And then, solve the value. So, you now have your x equals 3. And on the other side, x equals 4. Again, A is 1. B is negative 7 equals 12 for C, then equals. Press another equal, you have your x equals 4, and then another one equal, you're gonna get x equals 3. Pag pinindot uli natin yung susunod na equals, you have your minimum or maximum value for x, and then another equal, minimum and maximum value for y. So, equal lang po natin ulit yan. Now, let's go to our fourth problem. Now, let's try our fourth problem. Etong fourth problem natin, special case where A is greater than 1. So, kapag greater than 1 na, medyo nahihirapan na tayo mag-factor. But, let's go over this. Tignan natin kung mahirap pa rin ba siya sa paningin ninyo. So, let's have number 4. We have there 5x squared plus 17x minus 12 equals 0. Same technique pa rin. Let's use our magic x. We now have there A times C, which is negative 60, and our B is 17. So, ganun pa rin. Hahanap tayo ng factors ni negative 60. When we add or subtract, dapat 17. So, let's try 2 and 30, 3 and 20, 4 and 15, 5 and 12. So, let's start. 2 and 30, 32, 28, mali. 3 and 20, pag inad, 23. Pag sinubtract, 17. So, it means I will use there positive 20, and then your 3 there would be negative. So, now, we already have these factors, and take a look at what will I do next. Remember, your A is greater than 1, so we will be putting here 5x as first factor. Tapos dito po, ilalagay lang natin si positive 20. Sa kabila naman po, we will still put 5x and then put negative 3. Then don't forget you're equal to 0. check your factors if we can still simplify or kung may greatest common factor. So kung mapapansin nyo po dito, they are still divisible by 5. So this is actually x plus 4 times 5x minus 3 equals 0. So when we get the values of x equate both to 0, so we have here negative 4, and sa kabila naman, 5x minus 3 equals 0. That is 5x equals 3. Divide both by 5. You now have x equals 3/5. So, ito na po yung dalawang sagot natin. Yan. Mukha po bang mahirap? That's another way of solving your problem. Then, let's start with typing in our A, 5 equals, ang B natin, 17 equals, and our C, negative 12 equals. So, makikita po natin ang first value ng ating x, andyan, at ang second value ng ating x, andyan din. Meaning, yung manual computation natin ay correct. So, equal lang po ulit to proceed with another quadratic equation. So, i-master po natin ang technique na to. So, let's have another problem where A is still greater than 1. Let's try our fifth problem where A is still greater than 1. Let's have there 20x squared minus 9x minus 20 equals 0. So again, same pattern, your magic x, ang taas, A times C, 20 times negative 20 ay negative 400, and you have there negative 9 for your B. So lagay lang po natin yan dyan. Ang taas naman ng negative 400 na kukunan natin ng factors. Gamit po tayo ng calculator. Again, please click menu, then calculate 1. And then please type 400 equals. Click shift and then fact. Makikita nyo po, prime factorization po yun. At ang lumabas po ay 2 raised to 4 times 5 squared. So, ang 2 raised to 4 po natin ay 16. Ang 5 squared ay 25. Upon checking, so kahit hindi pa ako maghanap ng ibang factors, if I subtract the numbers, ang sagot ay 9. So, since ang sign ay negative, 25 will get the negative sign while your 16 would be positive. Yan. So, ang gagawin po uli natin, kopyahin natin si 20 and then put x. Yan, for our initial term, initial value, 20x. And then, copy na po natin yan si negative 25 and 16. Then, don't forget, equate to 0. So, kung mapapansin po natin, parehong may common factor, i-factor out po muna natin. So, dito po, that's 5. So, this becomes 4x minus 5. Dito naman po sa kabila, that is 4. Then, 5x plus 4. So, ito pong finactor nating number, pwede na po natin siyang i-divide sa lahat. So, meaning kapag dinivide po natin to ng 20, 5 times 4, dinivide po natin ng 20, at dinivide din po natin yung kabila ng 20, it will not affect our equation. So, it will just cancel out. So, still 0. So, you now have there 4x minus 5 times 5x plus 4, which is equal to 0. And solving, we will now have here, inapuka siya yung solution ko. Laki ng sulat kasi, ang taba eh. So, let's have here 4x minus 5 equals 0. So, you have there 4x equals 5. Dividing both by 4, you now have x equals 5 over 4. So, yan po ang una nating sagot. Sa pangalawa naman po, we have there 5x plus 4 equals 0. So, 5x equals negative 4. And divide both by 5. We now have x is equal to negative 4/5. O, di po ba? Nasagutan po natin kahit parang nakakatakot yung quadratic equations natin. And again, let's just recheck using our calculator. So, dahil umalis po tayo sa equation, menu, hanapin sa equation, polynomial, degree of 2. Then, 20 equals, negative 9 equals, negative 20 equals, and then first equal, lalabas po ang unang sagot. Second equal, may second sagot po tayo using our calculator. So, that's it for our solving of quadratic equations.